Hey guys, welcome back to Midnight Violets. Before I start today's video, I just want to say a massive thank you. I've had quite a lot of new subscribers lately, so hello! And yeah, thank you so much for subscribing. That means so much to me, and also thank you to everyone that's been subscribed for ages as well. You guys are awesome too. So today I thought we would do a first impressions. It's been a long time since I've done first impressions. I'm not sure I've ever done one on a foundation, but this foundation is very different to anything I've ever tried before, and I'm just a teeny tiny bit excited about it. The foundation in question is the Gosh hashtag foundation drops. And yes, it actually does have a hashtag on it. I'm not just hashtagging for the sake of hashtagging. So it claims to have a buildable coverage, a natural finish and a lightweight feeling, all of which sound like pretty good things to me. So this is what the packaging looks like. I've got this in shade 02 Ivory. You can get it from Superdrug. It's $12.99, so a little bit pricey for the high street, but I was so eager to try it that I kind of just had to. So on the top it twists off. I don't want to pull it out too much because I don't want to make a mess, but it does have a little dropper on it and a squeezy thing on the top to dispense it with. Let's give this a go. So I've just zoomed you in a little bit so you can see a little bit better what's going on my face. So I'm going to start off with a primer, but I'm only going to use it on half of my face. So I'm going to use it on the right hand side just to see how this works with and without primer. I'm going to use my current favourite, the bareMierals Primetime Foundation Primer. This is a little mini size. I got it from TK Maxx in like a little kit, and I have to say I'm absolutely loving it. So usually I'm that person that would be a little bit lazy and probably just dispense the foundation straight onto my brush. This is very liquidy in formula. You can actually hear it when you shake it. So I don't want to do that because it's just going to seep all down straight into the brush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it onto the back of my hand and then just use this brush to buff it onto my face. This is just a little tiny EcoTools Kabuki brush. It's a strange foundation brush, but I've been loving it lately, so I'm gonna stick with what I know. This is like being in science class again. Okay, it's got a really liquidy texture. Really liquidy. If I turn my hand up, you can see that dripping down my hand. It actually has more coverage than I thought it was going to. It said it had a light coverage. This seems to be, I don't know, I just expected it to be, because it's so thin, to not have quite so much coverage. But it does seem to be evening me out quite a lot. Although I am still going to need concealer. So I'm just going to go over that again and see actually how buildable it is, as it does claim to be buildable. So I do actually agree this is quite buildable. I'm finding that for places on my cheeks, especially, that I want to add a little bit more coverage, it is kind of going on a bit more and it's not looking cakey. I am finding that I'm having to use quite a bit of product here though. I don't know whether it's because it's sinking into my brush though, because it is so thin. I'm just going to see how well it applies on the half of my face without any primer. It does seem to be applying okay on this side as well actually. I'm not having too much of an issue with it. So there we go, that's what it looks like applied all over the face. Actually, I'm pretty happy with this. It has definitely given a bit more coverage than I thought it would. I thought it would be kind of a little bit like a tinted moisturiser, just because it is so thin and it says light coverage. But actually, the buildable part is true, and I've definitely managed to get some coverage here. Definitely not flawless, but that is what concealer is for. As for the finish, it actually does have a really nice kind of dewy glowing finish to it. I don't know whether that's going to stay or whether it's going to sort of settle down. It does feel quite wet on the skin still, and if you actually look at my fingers, let me focus that for you. Don't know if you can see that on my fingers, but it has kind of transferred quite a lot onto my fingers. So I think this is going to be one that you're going to want to set with powder. So to set mine, I'm going to use something from Gosh as well. Let's just keep it all Gosh. So this is the Gosh Prime and Set Primer and Mattifying Setting Powder. Don't use it as a primer though, just use it as a powder. Just going to set this down because I have a feeling that it's not going to set on its own. It does feel quite tacky on the skin still. That may be because I've put 2 layers on though. If you want to keep the glow, use some kind of illuminating type powder, not a mattifying one. As for the colours that they do, there is 5 colours available. I've got the lightest one, which is 02 Ivory, so hopefully they're kind of planning on introducing some more shades in there, leaving room for shade number 1. I do always find that Gosh do really nice pale foundations though. I'd say this is probably half a shade too dark for me. I do think that it's slightly too yellow toned as well, but not so much that I wouldn't wear it. So for now, I'm really happy with the foundation. I'm going to go away, put all the rest of my makeup on, probably film some more videos, and I'll catch you later to let you know how it's doing. So for a reference of time, it's 10:30. And yes, I have the most boring background ever. So it's about 5 hours later now. Excuse my lips looking so red and sore. I've done a massive lip swatch video today, so the lips are suffering. But that brings me on to the fact that my foundation has worn a little bit around my mouth, but I'm going to give you a quick close-up just so you can see quite how it has worn around the mouth, just for those that do tend to maybe rub their face a lot, or if you're putting things on and off your head, I don't know, things like that. So I'm just going to give you a quick look. So you can see that there's some wear just around here. This blemish is also a lot more visible than it was earlier, and the same from around here as well. If you have a look at my chin, it is also a little bit oily, but the rest of my face is actually doing really good. Another thing that I just want to quickly mention is I wear glasses during the day. Well, I just wear glasses. I don't film with them on because they reflect so much light, but they do tend to make my foundation ball up and kind of collect in these kind of areas. But actually it hasn't done that, which I'm really impressed with. That's actually quite unusual. So 5 hours in, I think this foundation is actually doing really well. Slight oiliness on my chin, but I have a confession, I have been asleep, and that tends to happen when I nap. I don't know what happens when I nap. One thing that I didn't mention earlier is that this foundation does have an SPF 10 in it. It's also got argan oil in it. So yeah, I'll come back in another few hours and let you know sort of the final thoughts on how it's wearing. But so far, I'm really impressed with this. It's not kind of collected in any areas of my face, especially here, which it normally would. So it's about 9 hours later now. And as happens in autumn and winter, it's now dark outside, so excuse the artificial lighting, but hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what this will look like in artificial lighting as well. And actually I am super impressed with this foundation. I want to make it very clear that I haven't put any extra powder on my face, I haven't blotted or anything like that. All I did was I put a tiny bit of foundation around my lips after my last update, just because it had all worn off and I wanted to take some thumbnail pictures for my video, so I didn't want that all to be there. But that is all I have done in alteration of my face, is just to touch up around my lips where I rubbed it all off. There is still a little bit of oiliness on my chin, but I don't actually think it's worsened, so I think it is, as I said earlier, because I napped, and that happens when I nap. It has collected a small amount around here, but it is literally a very small amount. It's less than I'd experienced with other foundations. So I think all in all, I am actually super impressed with this foundation. Obviously this is just a first impressions. I've not tested it in different conditions, with different primers, with different powders, you know, that kind of thing. But generally, as a first impression, I am actually really impressed with this. And I can't actually see too much of a difference between the side that I had primer on and the side that didn't. So this is the side I had primer on, and this is the side that didn't. I will continue using this foundation. I don't think I've wasted £12.99, which is always good. I'm not sure how long it will last, though, as I did find I had to use a fair amount of product. But yeah, that will be something that time will tell. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, guys. Do let me know if you liked this first impression. I think it's the first ever foundation first impressions I've ever done. Could be wrong. If you did like what you saw, then don't forget to subscribe down below, and I will speak to you again soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.